how to make a paper aeroplane. So you just need a simple piece of A4 paper to do this. So I've got here a piece of A4 with the short edge facing me and the long edge facing away. So we begin by taking this top corner and pull it towards yourself, and you have to line up the edges as precisely as possible, because that's what makes it as aerodynamic as possible as well. Now, I'm going to need to take off my glasses because I'm a little bit short-sighted. Well, I'm a little bit long-sighted, and wearing my glasses up close these days tends to hurt a little bit. So I think I need a new prescription. So what we do is we press down very firmly to make a nice, neat edge to that fold. Okay? And then we open it out again, just like this. And then we take the other corner that we've got the fold in, and we fold it in on itself, back the way it came to this side. And again, you want to line up the edges as smoothly as possible so that they make a nice, neat edge that you can put a crease into. So there we go. And then we press very, very firmly and gently all the way down. There we go. And as you can see, I've made a slight error there because it's slightly over, but you can correct it. You can sort of just pinch it there and then just smooth it out a little bit, and you'll get your edge again. And it's fine because this one is an early crease, but it does make the basis of your aeroplane there. So now we'll open it back out, and as you can see, it's kind of made like a funny, neat little upside down pyramid, almost. So the next step is to take the two edges and then just gently fold them inwards to create a point and a triangle at the top, like this. Oh, here we go. Got away from me there. That's it. And then we've got a triangle point at the top there. And again, we press these down, and that makes a nice triangular edge there. So that's the next stage. Then we fold in these two corners. So if I start with the left, and we take this corner here and we bring it right up, almost as far as it'll go to the point. And then we just gently press down and we make that fold there, just like that. And then we take the next one, and we gently place that there, hold it firmly, and then press down very gently as well. So this will be kind of the fuselage of the plane once it's made. And it adds all this weight to the front, which really helps with making it glide and fly along. Okay, and the next bit is a little bit tricky. So if I can't quite do it in the camera as it's locked off, I'll see if I can zoom in later and do a close-up. But we want this little corner here, this little bit here. And we kind of want to take 3 fingers and put 2 underneath, and your middle finger and your thumb, and then take your index finger and place it over the top. And you just want to kind of pinch inwards, pinch it in a little bit until that point comes together. And it's a bit tricky. It doesn't always precisely go together. So, but what you do is pinch that together and then press it forwards so it kind of folds over itself. You can see there, and then press down and line it up so that you've got yourself like a little funny little, what I always think of as like a little gun for the bottom of the plane where the machine guns go. Okay, and we'll do the same thing on this one. And we just pull that down and pinch there and pull it forward. And there is your other side done as well. That's it. So it's a bit rough. It's been a while since I've made one of these, but And I've torn it a little bit there, but hopefully that shouldn't affect the aerodynamics too much. So let's just look at that again in close-up. Okay, so that's pretty much the basis of the fuselage of the plane. And then what we do is we just take it and just fold it, just take the whole plane, and you'll find it will fold quite easily down the middle now, because it wants to form along this split there. It wants to fold along there. So we just gently press that to there and leave it at that. And if you want to, you can just sort of press it here. Now, I tend to fold that down as well out of habit, but I've just thought that if I don't do that, then it might actually make it more structurally in the structural integrity might be better. So I'll just leave it like this for now, and I'm going to open it out again. And then what we do is we just want to fold the bottom of the paper up to this section of the fuselage where the wings meet there. And we just pop that together like that. And then very firmly and gently press all the way along like this. And that's it. And then I might fold it over again and then just press along there as well, just to make sure it's really bedded in there. Now, what you can do is you can take a pair of scissors and you could ask an adult to slice along this for you. If you're a child, if you're an adult, then go ahead with your scissors and cut all the way along that line, because this will make the tail and this will be the body of the aeroplane and the wings. But what I like to do, it's not strictly hygienic, but it's just for they're my paper aeroplanes. But what you can do is you can wet the edges with a very small amount of water and just make it slightly damp. And then that will soften the paper enough to tear it. So you could just take a little bowl of water and just drop your finger in and just run it down the edges like this. And it doesn't take long for it to soak in, and you don't need a lot of water. Just do it sparingly. And if you want to, you can fold it over a couple of times and just moisten the crease, wet along there, and it's done. But what I like to do when I don't have a bowl of water ready is I just gently run it along my tongue like that, and then I fold the paper over it, and I do it again, and then it should be damp enough then, and you can see it's already starting to come apart, and it should just be damp enough there to gently pull apart, and there we go, just gently, very, very gently. Oh, that one's a bit, let me scrub that a little bit more. There we are, very, very gently. And then we'll pull that apart very gently. There we are, and then just dry that off. So it's optional. You can use scissors, but in a pinch, a little moistening will do the business. Or you could even wet your finger and do it like that as well. So that's it. So that's your tail. Doesn't look very good at the moment, but you get the idea. But what we do with this one is we then fold this down the middle and we make a crease. And it has to be a very stiff crease, a nice stiff crease, so that we can make this as aerodynamic as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from corner to corner like that, and then try and run this down the middle of the paper. There we go. Line it all the way up, and then once I've lined it up, I can then press and press all the way along. There we go. So as you can see, I've kind of messed up there. I've got a little bit of a crease, a little bit of edge where they don't quite line up. So what I would recommend is we'll put this end into the paper aeroplane here, into the tip of the plane, because that way you've got this part of the plane which is more or less straight and lined up. So that should help with the aerodynamics. But practice makes perfect with these things. I've made some great planes and they fly quite far. And I've made some real duds that turn on a dime and crash into a wall, or even turn back and hit me in the face. So you could quite possibly have any outcome you desire with this. There we go. So I'll take the point that we've got there now, and I've got my paper aeroplane, and there's a little pocket there where the point goes. And if I just take it this side, that's it. And you want it to be the crease at the top as it goes in. The plane is upside down, and we just gently slot it in, and it should naturally find the point at the end of at the tip of the plane there, and you can shove that in, and then you can then just pop that together like that. And then the final stage is to lock the front so that it holds this in place. So what we'll do is we just turn the plane over and turn the tip away from yourself, and that makes your front end of your plane. And as I say, those are like the little gun struts or whatever you like to call them at the front of the plane there. And then we then squeeze it all together, and we just flatten it down a bit, and then just there we go. And that's your finished paper aeroplane. So you can just kind of amuse yourself with that. And throw it across the office, or throw it to your friend at school, or do whatever you like with it, really. Now, I thought I'd spend the rest of this video just repeating the process, and then you can see how they work at your leisure, and just relax and watch me fold a few aeroplanes. So, while I'm folding this one, I just wanted to talk briefly about my reasons for making an ASMR video with paper aeroplanes as my first video. The reason that I'm doing this is actually sort of a tribute to my father, who's he's sadly no longer with us. He's the one who taught me how to make this kind of paper aeroplane, and I've never really seen it made by anyone else elsewhere, and I'm sure they have been made, and I have to admit I've never checked YouTube or anywhere else to see if it's possible to make this paper aeroplane. But I always felt that I'd do him a disservice if I didn't record this for somebody else to see. And so this is kind of a tribute to my father, to my dad, and to his dad as well, who I believe taught him how to make this plane. So yeah, so I always thought that if I was to start a YouTube channel, especially an ASMR channel, then I would make a paper aeroplane my first one. And that's always been the plan, really. That's always, for years, I always thought, oh, I would do that. And so thank you for watching this video and learning how to make this particular type of fun plane. Okay, so there we go. You see, so it's coming together quite quickly. And what I can do is I can fold this section first, and then make the fold like this. There we are. And as you see, out of habit, I've put the crease in already. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold my tail end of my plane together like that, and then fold it over again like this. There we are. And then run it across my tongue. Yeah, don't cut yourself, mind. But it's, to be fair, it's not a paper. It's not possible really because it's folded over, so there's no sort of lethal edge to it or anything like that. So you might have noticed that I've this video has just skipped a second or two, and that's because during the making of this video, I'm also cooking a big batch of pasta sauce. It's one of my favourite things to do, just getting a big pot of sauce on to simmer, and the smell is incredible. So I just had to give it a stir. Um, the recipe that I'm using is actually from another YouTuber, which who you've probably heard about, and that's Vincenzo's Plates. And I think Vincenzo's his recipes are just awesome and absolutely delicious, and I've made loads of them over the years. So if you get a chance, go and look him up because they're really good. The one that I'm making at the moment is the basil sugo recipe, which is basil and tomato sauce. Um, and it's just so tasty. I simmer it for like 3 hours, and it's very good. And goes great with meatballs and all sorts of things. There we go. That's it. This one's a bit haphazard, but you've got the point there. And then we pop that together, and I'll just pop that in there, like that. There we go. That's it. And just try and line it up a little bit better. It's not looking so great. Oh dear. That's it. There we are. And then 2 paper aeroplanes. There we go. I'm going to throw this across the room now to see how well it does. Oh, very nice. So that was my second paper aeroplane, and that flew across the whole kitchen, and it got some good height there. So this is my next one. Now that one was pretty dire. So the first one I made actually veered off to the right and slammed into the wall there. You would have heard. So now let's try one. Let's try making one with a stiffer bit of card. So then we'll see if we achieve the same aerodynamics. So I've got another A4 piece of paper here, but this one's slightly thicker. It's more for calligraphy, I think, possibly watercolors. Um, but it's a lovely piece of paper. It's got a lovely feel to it, and it really absorbs graphite and makes a pencil drawing just have an extra quality to it, which I really love. So this is the paper that I'm going to make the next plane out of. And I think it might make a difference. It might make it a little bit sturdier. It might make it heavier, so it may not fly as well, but we'll see. So let me fold this one over and get started. So it's a bit harder this time, but then because it's a bit stiffer, it might be a bit easier to work with as well. So I'm lining up my first corner. There we go. My first corner is lining up, and then if I press very firmly but gently, and that's my first crease. And we'll try this one again. It's so funny, it feels like a gargantuan effort compared to the previous ones where it was just a thin piece of paper. So it's quite funny, really. You feel like you have to use all your muscles ah to make that fold and get that crease. But you can see it's a lot stiffer there, and it's a lot sturdier. So if I then fold these two together, there we go. I'm going to hold the base of the wings, the edge of the wings, and try and really push forward so we keep that nice sharp tip to the plane. I was a bit worried it might turn into a nut, but it's actually doing very well. And I'm going to press down and just make sure you've got some nice tight creases in your paper there. And as you can see, it's looking quite good. It's shaping up very nicely. Right, so I'm going to then turn my point inwards or outwards, depending on your point of view, pointing towards the camera. And I'm going to very firmly, very gently press this together as well. And then we'll take the next one and we'll line that up and we'll hold the tip and I'll very gently and very firmly press these together as well. Phew, right. So So that's that. My fingers are quite sore now. Great. So I'm going to then turn these to this point inwards and make it into our little machine gun sort of mount. This is a lot harder because now you're trying to pinch something that's like twice as thick as it was, and it feels like stiff cardboard now. So I'm pinching together as best I can, and then making that fold, and then trying to get over and just have a little bit of a crease at the top there, so that it has something to fold against, to fold over against. That's it. So this one is very, very tricky. There we go. Oh, just push that together. That's it. That's it. And then we take the next one. We'll pinch this one together. Now, I managed to cut my thumb the other day. I won't show you if I can help it, but I managed to cut my thumb, so it's quite tender. And all it was I was just slicing a bagel, and I got a bit distracted. And I managed to just very slightly nick my thumb, and so it was a bit painful, but it's slowly healing up. But it always gets worse before it gets better, right? So it's still a bit sore and tender. So I think what I'm going to do, because it's too stiff for me now to really make an effort with this finger and this thumb, so I'm going to turn there this way, and I'm going to pinch with my other hand, just because it makes it a little bit less of a challenge for me. There we go. And then I'm going to fold towards the middle, whilst keeping that crease there, that indent, so we have something to fold against in a second. That's it. So I'm going to just crease that over, and then and then press it down. This one's coming out really badly. Right. Well, I'm going to persevere anyway, because why the heck not? It's just a piece of paper, and it's just a bit of fun for my first YouTube video. And it's really all just a test anyway, because if it doesn't sound right, I'll start again. Right. That was going really badly. So let's try a little bit more effort this side. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. And then push that together like that. Right. There we are. There we are. There. Just fold that over a bit more. Like that. Right. And then I'm going to hold this in the middle. And that one is pretty terrible. You can see it's more of a snub nose thing. It kind of reminds me of a bat. So, but anyway, right. So let's just see what happens. So I'm going to fold this to the middle, and then we will see what we can do with it. There we are. Lovely. Fold that one back over. Fold this a few times, just a few times, just to make it a little bit weaker, and then I'll use the whole wetting technique again. I might need a few goes of this one in order to get that to tear, but it's coming along fairly nicely, I think. I'll try that again. There we go. There we go. Fold. Tear along the fold there. Just smooth that out. And smooth this edge as well. So it's a bit rougher, you can see. So I would say you probably need to use a thinner piece of A4 for best results. Because a stiff sheet of paper like this is quite resistant. But it was fun to have a go and just see what you come up with. There we are. There we are. That's coming together. So, I mean, ultimately, I hope that you're just relaxing and enjoying the process of someone making a few aeroplanes. And, perhaps I'm talking too much. perhaps I'm talking a lot of nonsense, and maybe if I am doing that too much, and you just want to relax, then maybe in the next video that I do, I don't say much at all. I could just sit and make paper aeroplanes till the cows come home. And maybe if I learn, I could make something else. Maybe I'll get one of those origami books or something, and something, maybe fold a unicorn or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, so there's my stiffer card plane. So it looks slightly less sharp than the thinner paper. And to be honest, it doesn't really sit well in your hand either. It's kind of, it feels like holding a fat butterfly or something, and doesn't quite sit together as comfortable in the hands. So it's a bit slippery. But I'll give it a throw and we'll see what happens. Ah, yeah. So that sank without a trace. Basically, it was like throwing a dart into the ground. So we won't use stiff card for that again. So I can put this away, and the we'll stick with a few more of the thin paper instead. So this is very nice paper as well, and much easier to manipulate. So I'll do another one. There we are. I hope you're enjoying the sound of the dishwasher just muddling along nicely in the background there. Because I'd really like to experiment with sort of ambient noise whilst I'm doing certain activities, certain ASMR things, because that relaxes me and it might relax you. There we are. That's not a bad one. And I'm just making this one a little bit faster, a little more with muscle memory, because a little more muscle memory because I wonder if being too precise makes it too rigid, makes it too stiff, and it doesn't fly as well. Maybe you need to put a bit of spirit into it, and a bit of ad hoc and fun, add a bit of spice to it, a bit of flavour. Maybe that's it. Because my second plane flew really well, and I kind of made it whilst distracted. So I'm just kind of doing the same thing with this one. I'm just doing it on memory and just enjoying doing that. There we go. And maybe the crease does have, I don't know, slight fold in it. But when I was younger, I used to make these all the time, and I used to go with my cousins up to the peak near where we lived, and we used to make as many of these planes as we could and ferry them up there and then throw them off and see how far they would glide. And I've made one with a sheet of A4 paper, and it's the same principle. It's just you get a bigger aeroplane. And they fly pretty well, actually, because the smaller planes get buffeted by the wind, but a slightly bigger plane has a little bit, it's able to cut through the air a bit better, I think. So that's worth having a go at as well. Maybe I'll do another one with A3 paper planes, and maybe I'll demonstrate throwing it from something off a off a peak or something like that. Anyway, so there we go. So I'm just doing that. I've also made an aeroplane out of a shopping receipt, which is a bit weird. But I had one that I thought, oh, it looks kind of the right dimensions, and I had to very, very gently fold bits together, and it was quite difficult. And a bit like with the paper aeroplane, with the card, the thicker paper, that because it's so small, there's too much weight at the front, and it kind of overloads the plane. So even though it did fly, it was too heavy at the front, so it kind of nosedived pretty quickly. So I think for best results, you want either a thin sheet of A3 or a thin sheet of A4. But above and beyond those, I think it might be a bit much. So, saying that, I've never tried it with A2. I don't even know how big A1 is, if that is such a thing. I'm sure it must be. So, maybe again, I'll have a go at making an A1 paper aeroplane someday. The possibilities are endless, aren't they? So, there we go. So, I'll pop that together. And then that can go in there. There we go. And we'll track that down. And that's your next one. So there we go. Beautiful. Okay. And if you're so inclined, of course, you could always decorate your paper aeroplane. You could put your favorite colors in it, use a marker pen. You could draw a message and send it to someone. Or you can just leave it plain, or you could even get different color paper and make it. So this is a very plain, very basic design at the moment. But maybe I'll make some more colorful ones in the future. Right, I'm going to throw this one as well. See how this one does. Oh, that was a good one. Right, let's do one more, and then I think we'll throw them across the kitchen just for fun. Right, here we go. There we are. Press. Pop those together. Press forward. That's kind of gone out of line then, but I can press that back into shape there. Lovely, look at that. Right, here we go. Okay. Like this one. That's all nicely pressed together. Fold that together like this. And press. And then fold this one together like this. And press. There we go. We'll fold over the front. We'll find that comes very easily, that fold there. Once you've made the other steps, it really comes together nicely. And I find this bit very satisfying when you just fold the wings out and it exposes this lovely section here. It's just very satisfying where it all just comes together and it looks very pretty. There we go. So I'm just going to pinch that together, fold over toward my wing's edge to make the tail, and then like that. And then back again. Here we go. And then that will just naturally fall apart there. And we'll just smooth off that edge that I've made. There we go, with my tear. And then I'm just going to fold this together very, very gently, like so. There we are. And then pop that together. So I've got a feeling this one might veer off to the right because doesn't quite feel right in this fold. So the more you do, the more you tend to, the more you get a feel for it, I think. But we'll see, because a paper aeroplane always manages to surprise me. There we go. Right, pop that in there. Fold over, and we're set. That's it. All done. Right. Next one. Oh, that was pretty cool. Okay. Right. Let's throw it for you. Right. So there's my dog, and she's called Raisin. Hello, Raisin. So I was about to throw my paper aeroplanes, but Raisin has just woken up and she wants to take part. So this could get interesting. So I've got my five paper aeroplanes. You can see, a bit slippery, and I've randomly mixed them up, and we're just going to see how well they fly, just across the kitchen there, because I've got some pretty good distance with a couple of them. So I'll do the cardboard one. I'll do two of the normal ones, so you can get a good flavour of how they're supposed to fly. And then I'll do the cardboard one, so you can see how bad it is and it's how heavy it is as well. It's pretty terrible. Right. So I'm gonna skate across the front of the room here. Okay, on the other side of the camera. Because I'm left-handed, so I need to throw this left-handed. Right, here we go. Here's my first paper aeroplane. Here we go. Not bad. Not bad at all. Catches it caught a pretty good height there. That's all right. I'm going to throw this one a bit higher and see how that goes. Oh, wow. That's cool. Okay. Right, now let's do the card one. This is the thicker paper, which kind of was a bit rubbish. Here we go. Yeah, you see that one just hit the deck straight away. Right, here's the next one. Oh, so that one just veered off to the left there. So that was obviously not as aerodynamic as it should have been, and not as folded as very well as it could have been. But the first two did pretty well. So let's see how our last one does. Whoa, that's not bad. That's not bad. So get some good distance with that. And I wasn't throwing it very hard at all. So here's Raisin now, coming to tear everything apart, I expect. Raisin, good girl. Good girl. I know. I think she's probably more interested in where her dinner is. Is that good, Raise? Yeah? Good girl. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed my first ever ASMR video. I hope it was useful and entertaining. But most of all, I hoped it just helped you relax and take it easy. Thank you very much, Raisin. Do you want to say hello to the public? Good girl.